Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks for joining us. Lots to get into tonight, including the Steelers, who practiced over at Heinz Field tonight. We'll talk about their Hall of Honor idea. Also, how about the Ravens? They need a quarterback. Flacco's hurt. Why not Colin Kaepernick? We'll get into all that, but the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Pirates, who did nothing at the trade deadline. Got a walk-off winner today by a guy they traded for yesterday. We'll get into all of that with our panel, and here they are. Left to right on your television screen, we have Mr. Andrew Fillipponi from the Cook and Pony Show, weekdays on 93.7 The Fan. In the middle, it is Tim Benz, DK Radio Sports. And to the right, Chris Mack, Mack and Jack, before and after all Pirate games on 93.7 The Fan. So, Chris, we'll start with you on this one. Pirates win. Sean Rodriguez, what an ending today, but he's acquired yesterday. It seemed like after maybe the Pirates got a little slack for doing nothing at the trade deadline. Number one, should they have? And number two, who's most responsible for not doing anything?
There's two possible scenarios here that make sense to me, Pomp. One is Neil Huntington decided not to make a deal at the deadline. Couldn't find a way to improve his team, which I find very hard to believe. The more likely scenario, he had trades he wanted to make Monday, couldn't make them because it wouldn't be the first time an owner shut down a GM from making moves that would add salary at the trade deadline, seeing that the team is down in attendance and perhaps not making as much money as they did last year at the gate, which is a huge part of the Pirates' revenues. I'd believe that that would be the more likely scenario, and that when the backlash came back as strong as it did, and they saw that the way to keep people coming into sitting down in the seats at PNC Park was to make some moves, Neil Huntington.
Chris, I would have believed that until the trade that was made yesterday. We don't know if the Braves have thrown money into this deal with the Pirates, correct?
We don't.
To the best of our knowledge, we don't know if that's been reported. So if we just go by what we have, they're going to pay what's left on a $5.75 million salary to Sean Rodriguez this year, a 160 hitter. I know, he hit a walk-off today, but okay. And they're going to pay him almost $6 million next year. So if you look at some of the outfielders that they could have picked up when Polanco went down in Denver, you can't tell me then that it's a money thing if you went and you're going to eat Sean Rodriguez's contract. So based on what I know right now, Tim, I put it on the GM shoulders.
Oh, I put it on the players, too, for playing so lousy against bad teams when he really would have been under the vice to get some type of boost at the trade deadline and maybe swing the pendulum in their favor as opposed to going after the Chicago Cubs, letting them run away with the NL Central. But, the Rodriguez move specifically, for as great of a story as that was at PNC Park today, as fantastic of an ending as it was, didn't it also make you a little bit mad? Because they probably should have kept this guy instead of going and getting Goslin instead, and now they're willing to pay him for the last third of his contract for this year. And I also wonder if maybe he was purchased back from the Braves in part because he can fulfill the same role as Harrison next year if they decide to trade Harrison and save $5 million in that swap between the two players.
Well, I want to go back to the original point here, which is I don't find it hard to believe at all that an owner would tell a GM, no, I don't want to make these moves right now, and that an owner who gets as much blowback as Bob Nutting does wouldn't have his GM come to him again and say, listen, I can make these other moves. And the owner would not consider both the court of public opinion as well as the opportunity to keep people coming to the ballpark.
But Chris, we're not considering enormous contracts, are we?
$5 million is not enormous. You want to talk about taking on something $12, $15, $18 million or more, they're going to pay Sean Rodriguez maybe $1.7 million the rest of the year.
My point is, I have a hard time believing that Bob Nutting said to Neil Huntington, what, you want to add $2 million in Melky Cabrera's contract for the rest of the year? No. To me, that is a meager salary to help you at a position that a few weeks ago was in dire straits. You called up a guy with 21 games of AAA experience, which goes completely against everything that Neil Huntington stands for. He said he brought Benoit here because he wasn't ready to have relief pitchers perform in late game situations too early in their careers, and yet defends Luplow? That made no sense to me.
No, it didn't.
If these two moves were made before the deadline, how do you think we'd be talking about it?
It depends on the timing of them, Tim. If they make this trade when they're over 502 games out, I think Pirates fans, and specifically me, would say he's doing a decent job.
All right, let's talk about where they are. They're now 4.5 back because the Cubs continue to flounder around, and who would have thought they'd be doing this all season long? So, Tim, you look at it, 4.5 back, but they have to climb 3 other teams, although it's pretty much jammed together. So, when it's all said and done, that pendulum, where's it going to point?
I think it's still going to point towards the Cubs, to be honest with you. I don't know why they haven't distanced themselves yet from the rest of this mediocre, sub-mediocre division. They're not getting a lot of traction, but you know what? The Pirates aren't either. This was such a classic opportunity for them to make up ground over these 19 games. They haven't done it. And I'm still a little bit worried about how the top of the rotation has performed. I guess they got decent starts out of Tyon here, and well, you know, Cole has been better before his most recent one. Nova's still here and there as far as I'm concerned. I want to see some traction built up by the Pirates before I believe they're going to catch the Cubs. I want to see these wins strung together, not just finally getting a series win against the Padres after playing so many bad teams in a row.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of consistency in all facets of the game. You haven't had that. Earlier in the year, we talked about Cole, Nova, and Tyon pitching well in the rotation. Cole and Williams have figured some things out, but then Jamison Tyon before today had 2 really awful starts. They've got to get more consistent around the entire ball club, then string some wins together, much like they did around the All-Star break. The one advantage, they've got lots of teams left against teams in the division, particularly 7 against the Cubs. They've got 10 left against the Cardinals and 8 more, I believe, against the Brewers, teams that they need to beat
and they
won't climb up the division.
They won't, Chris. I mean, I look at what Chicago did before the trade deadline. Quintana, Wilson in the back end, Avila to be a backup catcher. Brilliant job by Theo Epstein. If you think about where the Cubs are right now, if they play 500 the rest of the way, what's their record? They win 84 games, 85 games, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yep.
That would mean the Pirates have to do what? Play 30 and 21 just to get there?
That's the biggest problem.
That's not going to happen, guys. That's not happening.
They put themselves in too big a hole, and it's with losses to teams that they should have beaten. The Padres, I mean, this last stretch, they go 3-3 against these last 2 ball clubs at home, the Padres and the Reds. Those are 2 teams that you should win at least 4 or 5 against. So, yeah, I absolutely agree. They put themselves in a hole, and it's a hole that most likely they can't climb.
First series they won since Milwaukee, right? Can't have that.
Yep, can't have that. And they did sweep the Brewers, and then ever since, not much. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Steelers. No Martavis Bryant. He's still not there. We'll get into the other specifics. I mentioned Colin Kaepernick. He's out there, yet nobody wants him. Should the Ravens bite on that, bring him in? And we'll get into an interesting question. Tom Brady and Sidney Crosby each celebrated a birthday. One's 40, one's 30. When it's all said and done, who will have more championships? That's when we come back right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran. Go one better. And by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.